Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you've got Darren Little here from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada with the MLM Superheroes, and we are live right now on a Millionaire mentoring session, broadcasting to all four corners of the world. Guys, what I want to do tonight is a couple of things. I want to, really help you to understand, just in simple terms, what exactly is it that your goal is as a marketer? How does this all work? Because when people start into these businesses, the illusion, okay, the illusion, guys, I will tell you this, is that there's a lot of different buzz. There's a lot of different moving things, right? And if you don't understand what is the actual core, what are you really supposed to do, right? How does it all work, okay? So what I want to do is I want to break this down, and then I'm going to go across the panel here, and I want to find out from everybody sort of your short-term and then your longer-term goals of what you want to do within the next month, the next 3 to 6 months, and then the next 3 to 5 years. So just, sort of a spectrum there. So first of all, what I will tell you is that this industry that we are in, okay, is an industry of personal development and leadership. Okay, that is the core of this industry. And if you get that and you realize that it's really not about what's out here, okay, it's not about iPass, it's not about Empower Network, it's what's going on in here and what's going on in here. What's going on in your head and what's going on in your heart. Okay, that's the critical point to understand this industry. So in the event that you're on this path and you are investing daily into this and into this, you're working on your business. So it's very important to get that. So constantly feeding into your mind on personal development, right? That's what's coming in here. But how are you going to work on this, right? What's going on in here, which is your heart, actually has to do with your past, with your timeline, okay? Now, typically what happens, guys, in the evolution of our reality, okay, the first level in the game, right, is called victimhood. And when you're growing up, we don't realize as human beings that we're actually in that stage, right? Because we're morphing and molding and sculpting and morphing and molding and sculpting. But until you can take 100% full and complete ownership for this whole timeline, from the time you were born until today, right? And own all of it, the whole thing, including all the stuff that happened with your parents, including all the stuff that happened, with your high school and your failed businesses and your failed relationships, everything, 100% full, complete ownership. Until that happens, right, you can't advance to the next level in the game. It's not possible, okay? And the thing that prevents it from happening between level 1 and level 2 is the ego, right? Because the ego wants to be right. And it's a blocker that will block you from your success. Now, typically when people go into a business model like this, the thing that's the most painful for them is they won't surrender their ego. They won't get a mentor, and they're just not coachable, right? So they're trying to figure it out on their own, right? Their ego's too big to be able to accept any help, so they won't. So they keep on struggling and struggling and struggling and spending money on these different products and whatnot, right? When all they really need to do is just simply to get a mentor so that they can understand the business model, okay? So what I will tell you is that your gateway to your successful future is actually in cleaning up your past first, okay? And the more that you can look back to the relationship with your parents and the relationship with your siblings and clean that stuff up, right? And surrender and relinquish and love yourself enough that you will forgive yourself, right? That's the key. If you're going to advance to the next level, that has to happen first, guys. And if it doesn't, you will just literally spin your wheels, because it means that you're not finished with your pain. You're not finished with your struggle and your hardships. And you're going to actually be broadcasting to the electrons, wounded puppy. Now, if you're broadcasting wounded puppy out to the electrons, guess what magically happens? You get more pain. And the spiral down, it doesn't go away, guys, just so you know. The spiral will continue to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse until you take ownership and realize that it's actually you doing it all to you, right? And a lot of that has to do with the human condition: deservability, worthiness, self-love, and boundaries. Those 4 key areas. So if you get that part, right, it makes the rest of this stuff so much easier to move into and step into becoming a leader, right? Because if you just accept that and deal with it, it makes it way easier to advance. Okay, so I just want to reach out here quickly to Mary. Mary, you there? Can you unmute?
Sure.
Okay. You know, Mary, maybe you can just share a little bit on this topic right now, because in the last 90 days, you've really been doing some massive personal development, like tapes, you know, CDs, plugging into stuff, hangouts, repetition, going over stuff over and over. Talk to everybody here on the panel a little bit about what I'm talking about right now and what's shifted for you just in 3 months.
Well, for me, I realized that I hadn't taken full responsibility for everything in my life, and that was key. The second thing is, even though I did finally take responsibility for it, I still had all that programming in my head, you know. So I've found that I have to just repeatedly just keep listening to the inner circle, the Google Hangouts, you know, and I'll listen to like some Danny Johnson or some other stuff here and there, but mostly it's been the Google Hangouts and inner circle lately. So, and I am finding that the more I'm listening to that, the more I'm stable. I call it a stable. I mean, I feel stable because I could walk into a room where there's some negative talk going on, and I no longer feel affected by it. I feel like I have this protective barrier kind of thing. And will it bother me if I remain there? I'm sure it would, but I don't remain there. So I leave now. So I've learned how to make these choices, healthier choices in what I listen to, who I hang out with. I mean, it's a massive shift in learning, and a shift in decision making, and a shift in just a shift in how I look at myself in the mirror. I mean, it's just a complete total shift from where I was.
Fantastic, fantastic. Okay, so you know and one of my trainings, guys, that I really there's two specific ones in the beginning, you know, of a person really stepping into a leadership role. The first one is unstoppable vision, to get really clear on what it is that you want and why do you want it. What is your true driving force? And a lot of people, quite honestly, don't know, guys, just so you know. They get into the business, any type of business, and they really don't know, right? So it's like asking a travel agent for 2 tickets. Where are you going to end up? You could end up in a war zone, okay? So that's one, unstoppable vision. The other one is unleash the alpha within. Now, in that training, I really cover a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about just taking ownership, taking responsibility for your past timeline. And there's 5 simple steps to wealth creation, guys, okay, just so you know. The first thing that you've got to do is you need a vision, okay? Now, with the strategy that I teach, in the event that it's 3-dimensional, where it looks like you can reach right through to the other side, right? It's got to have a horizon line in the distance. So I always tell people start with nature, right, to give it the depth, and then close crop the items, not all the same size, so they're different sizes, and then build it up from the distance up into the future, so the things right in the foreground are going to be large, and then it's going to go down further and smaller away, so it actually looks 3-dimensional. So that's the first step. Make a 3-dimensional vision board. The second step is to speak about your reality, starting with the words I am. Okay? Now there's a difference between an affirmation that's positive and a proclamation that's emotional, right? Big difference. Now if you learn this distinction, your body, your physiology in your body, right, as you're speaking about the reality that you want, right, you can literally, trust me when I tell you this is how I made my first $1 million. You can speak your reality into existence, okay? But you've got to understand that you're going to be dealing with the human condition, right? The human condition is deservability, worthiness, self-love, and boundaries, those 4 key areas, okay? Now, in order to master those 4, you've got to master your thoughts, your words, and your emotions, okay? This is the secret. Thought, directed emotion that generates feeling, right? And the feeling gets broadcast out to the electrons. That's how it works. Now, it's going to work for everything that you want, but it's also going to work for everything that you don't want. And you're literally riding a tightrope between these 2 realities constantly. So you've got to be very tuned in. This right here is your compass, okay? This is your compass. So you've got to go, how do I feel? Because that's your compass. So in the event that you're feeling, you know, anxiety and depression and you're not feeling right, you got to backtrack now and say, what was I concentrated, focused thought on? Because that's what triggers the process all the way down, okay? So it's thought, directed emotion that generates feeling. So if the feeling here is terrible, you got to now backtrack it all the way through to say, okay, what was my repetitive, concentrated, focused thought on? Because that's what was creating the feeling. The feeling is creating the broadcast that's communicating with the electrons. So that's the basics. So you've got your vision board, you're speaking the reality into existence, and now the next stage is to open up the vortex. Okay, so on the time continuum, the timeline, you've got 1 month, 3 month, 6 months, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year. Okay, that's the time continuum. Okay, and on the categories, right, you've got health and fitness, you've got spiritual, emotional, family relationships, career, travel, financial goals and material things, and then contribution, giving back, and making a difference. Okay, now you need to make a grid, right, like this, right? And they're going to have these little boxes all the way across, right? Now, the goal of this part of opening up the vortex is you've got to really count on your intuition. Okay, you've got to count on your subconscious mind. Okay, so here's an example. I'll tell you this one story. I was working with this this gentleman by the name of Rob Riker. Okay, now Rob was a single dad. He had 2 kids, right? And he was so broke that he was starving himself for 2 days at a time so that he could feed his children. Okay. And he was flat. I mean, I'm talking about his self-esteem was in the toilet, okay? His confidence was at an all-time low. He was literally on the borderline of suicide, okay? True story. So he came to me and says, Darren, can you help me? What do I do? I don't know what to do, right? And I took him through this whole process. So when we got to the grid, right, we got all the way down to the part where it was financial, his self-esteem was so low, right, that he couldn't even visualize himself that within a 30-day period of time that he was even going to be able to make $2,500, right? And this is a guy who's, you know, a speaker and a peak performer type of person, but he went so far down that rabbit hole, okay, and he was so broke and destitute, plus he was dealing with rheumatoid arthritis and ankylosing spondylitis, and he was on the verge of being crippled again because he had had that happen in his past and it was coming back again. So we went through this whole process. Now your ego, right, is going to want to get in the way. So as an example, let's say that you put in the first box, you put you know, your subconscious mind says to put, you know, 1,000, and now your ego comes in. Oh, I can do way better than that. I'm gonna put 10 grand in there, right? But it won't be congruent, right? Now, if you stare at that box and you get this woozy feeling in your stomach, it's not congruent. So erase it and make it something less, right? And you look at it again. If you get the queasy feeling in your stomach like butterflies, erase it and make it smaller, right? Until all of a sudden you don't have butterflies anymore there for that box, okay? Then move to the next one, okay? Now here's the interesting thing. Once you've got this grid open, you've opened the vortex now, okay? And what happens is something that you have, say, in that 5-year box, right? Once you go into the next level and you get through the surrender and now you learn subconscious time travel, these boxes go like this. Okay, so something that you have in the 5-year box will all of a sudden zoom all the way over to maybe 6 months. So here's what happened for Rob, right? His first box, he had $2,500, right? But all the way through, I think in his 3rd year, by the 3rd year, he wanted to make $1 million. Keep in mind, this is a guy that's totally flat, right? He's so broke that he can't even imagine just making a couple grand in a month. What happened was when he learned this whole thing, these boxes went, and 8 months, it took him 8 months, guys, to make $500,000. He had $500,000 in the bank in 8 months, okay? So the opening the vortex, then you're going to have your surrender, right? And I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not going to sugarcoat this and tell you that you're not going to deal with emotions, because you're going to go through some Kleenex, bottom line. And I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to tell you it's going to be easy, because you will face your fears, right? You will have stuff bubble up from your childhood that you're going to deal with, right? Fact, you will, right? If you want to go from 60,000 a year to $250,000, or even 100 grand a year to $500,000 or $1 million, break out the Kleenex, baby, because you're going to go through some emotions in this whole process. So just be okay with that and know that that's just going to happen. It's just part of the evolution, okay? Now, in order for your body to be broadcasting out a higher vibration, you have to get rid of that baggage out of the being. It's not possible to raise your frequency to a higher level when you're holding on to the lower vibrational resonance. It's not possible, just so you know, okay? So that 4th step is going to be emotional. Okay, the last step is your subconscious time travel. And that's, let's say that this is you on the time continuum. You're going to slingshot back in time. You're going to anchor with 5 key events that happen in your timeline, and then, right? Now, visually, you're going to fly right through your vision board, and you're going to end up 90 days past that at a celebration dinner, okay? Now, this is cool, guys. I'll tell you what happens. Because now, When you trick your subconscious mind to believe that that future dinner has already happened, when your saliva glands activate, you have tricked time. Now, time has to recorrect itself. So if the future has already happened, guess what happens? Right? It has to recorrect itself, right? 5 simple steps to wealth creation, guys, okay? Okay, so let's get back to marketing in general. What is your #1 goal as a marketer? Your goal is to have qualified buyers watch your video. Okay, it doesn't matter what you're marketing. Okay, now this is what they don't properly teach people in this industry. Most people don't even know what they're doing in this industry. So they're out pitching. Get in my deal, get in my deal. I got the best deal, get in my deal. Lock your spot, lock your spot. Oh, we're going to the moon. And they're all broke. Okay, literally, they're flat broke, right? And then it's the blind leading the blind. So they get in another company and they see all these other people doing it. So they go, oh, well, that must be what you do. You must broadcast your link all over the place. That must be how you do it. That's not, right? Those are all the broke people, guys, just so you know. And the people that put these 6-paragraph exposés about their company. And you got to get in, and here's why, and the management, and the track record, and the comp plan, and here's how we pay. Don't do it, okay? Because anybody who is a real professional marketer will literally laugh at you, right? And you'll wonder why there's 0 activity on your post. So you put a post out, and there's nothing that happens, right? That's not marketing, guys, just so you know, okay? So I can teach you some strategies on how to dangle stuff to get people, personal development is obviously one, right? Mindset, motivation, inspiration, how-to strategies, things that you're going to learn. That's how you're going to get recognized as a leader, just so you know, okay? Because everybody's in the noise. They're all blah, 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 right? Now, all of a sudden, a leader steps up and says, is anybody having this problem? I've got a solution. If you want to know how to do it, hit the like button underneath, and if I get X amount of likes, I'm going to do a webinar. I'm going to invite you to a webinar, right? That's how you get positioned and branded as a leader, right? Is by focusing on people's problems. What's the problem? I don't know. Ask around the industry and ask what people's biggest challenges or problems are launching their business. One is running out of warm market, right? So what do? They go through their friends and family. Now what? What do? Hand out flyers? What do they do? Go to trade shows? What do they cold call people? What do they do? Go look for business cards and cold call these people? What are they supposed to do? Most people don't know how to actually market, okay? So if you want to realize what exactly do you want to do. You want qualified buyers to go to a page. That's it. That's marketing. Qualified buyers to go to a page, right? So you've got to start to ask yourself, who do you want? Like what's the ultimate thing that you want? You want to sell some products and you want to find some business partners, right? Well, you probably don't want a bunch of broke people, right? Am I right? You don't want broke people, do you, Chad? Right?
Not at all. Not at
Mary,
all.
do you want a bunch of broke people in your business?
Heck no, I want self-starters. I want people that are motivated and ready to go, no excuses.
Okay. So this is the difference, and this is what people don't get about being an entrepreneur and having a successful company, because they're actually marketing to the broke people, right? Those are not the people that are going to make you wealthy, guys, just so you know, okay? Just so you know. Those are not the people that are going to make you wealthy, okay? The broke people are not the ones, okay? These are the people that will make you wealthy. You've got realtors, mortgage brokers, insurance agents, right? people that are in the automotive industry, and people that already own a business. Those are the people that you want. That's your target market, right? So people say, Darren, who do you look for? I'm going to be honest with you guys. When my perfect target market is somebody who's in the family, their husband and wife team. They're making over 100 grand a year already. That's my business partner. They're already making over $100,000 a year, but they're looking for an exit strategy because they don't have one, right? If they don't work, they don't get paid. So they already own their own home, right? So they have a mortgage payment. Sometimes they even own a vacation property, right? They have 2 cars. They take 2 vacations per year, right? They typically have 2 kids, and they have a gold, platinum, or titanium credit card. But they don't have an exit strategy, right? They have income. They're not broke, right? They've got a lifestyle, but they don't have an exit strategy, guys. That's your market, right? Now, here's the difference. Let me explain to you the psychology behind that, because if it's not happening in here, and it's not happening out of here, and it's not happening in here, that you feel worthy and deserving to be able to attract those type of people into your reality, it won't happen. It won't happen. You will end up attracting broke victims. And I'm telling you, they will literally just waste your time. Okay? Trust me when I tell you this. Okay, now here's the difference. Because I'm very clear on who I want to attract into my reality, when people aren't in the right frequency for my business, there's one of 2 things that happen. They either come up in their frequency or they just fall away. But my phone doesn't ring, guys, with victims. It doesn't. I do not get calls from people that, oh, I don't know what to do. Oh, right? Because you know what I tell them? I say, you know what? I think you should call the company and get a refund. And they're like, what are you talking about? I really do this. I'm not kidding you. Okay? So what happens is once you raise your standards and you get really clear on what it is that you want, why it is that you want it, and who are your perfect business partners for your business, you naturally start to attract a higher caliber of individual, right? And in the event that they want to be in your reality and they don't currently have the money, they find it. They find it. So when people say, Darren, how is it that you can get people just to slap down 4 grand? Like, how do you do that? Because I put my vibrational resonance at 10, right? I put my vibrational resonance at 10 to attract 4, because I know, I mean, if you look at the reality, here's the reality, guys. Somebody says, Darren, I want to be free, financially free, okay? So what's the fastest way that I can do that? So I say, well, do you want to have $3,000 days? You can get there the fast way or the slow way. Which do you prefer, right? So if they want to get there the fastest way is to be having $3,000 days. That's going to get them to their goal the fastest. But I know if they truly want to have success, guess where the breakthroughs happen? Mary, where do you think the breakthroughs truly happen?
In their personal development?
Yes, in the personal development, but the breakthroughs, guys, just so you know, they happen at the events, okay?
Oh, the
So
events, yeah.
if somebody gets into the business, right, and 3 months later there's going to be some type of an event where they really need to be, they need to be around all the 7-figure income earners that are making the money, that have all the contacts, that have all the fast-track strategies in place. That's the energy that they need to be in. One person, guys, one single person can totally change your path. One relationship, one conversation that you have, you know, in the lounge, before the event starts. Something like that could totally change your path and speed up your progress by 3 to 5 years. Just like that, right? So I know that that person, they need to be at the next event, right? So if they don't have a budget, if you're dealing with people that are completely broke, right, you will not be setting yourself up for success. So start to raise your standards as a marketer and get very clear, guys, because I will tell you this. Once I found out that this is how the reality works, okay? Through our thoughts, through our words, and through our emotions, we are tuned into a vibrational resonance like a radio station. Success is a radio broadcast frequency. And whatever is in alignment with the broadcast starts to show up as reflectors. So you'll find that the more personal development that you do, the more that Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Bentleys will start showing up all in your reality. It's not an accident, guys, just so you know. It's not an accident. It happens because your reality that you're broadcasting is different. It's a new reality that starts to show up, right? So successful people start to show up in your reality a lot more. The right people, the right places, the right circumstances, the right contacts, they all start showing up. Why is that? One of my students lives in Los Angeles, okay, Calais Beeman. Do you know that she had never ever seen a Lamborghini? She lives in LA. Like, how's that even possible to not see a Lamborghini, right? She goes through Millionaire mentoring. Now they show up everywhere. Bentleys, Maseratis, Lambos, like everywhere she goes, those cars are showing up constantly. So you've got to take ownership for this, writing, and this, okay? Because that's forging your reality as you go. Critically important, okay? So your goal is to get qualified buyers to a page. That's it, right? That's the 100% goal. You're going to get qualified buyers to a page, right? Now, what I typically tell people to do is to look at where you were before you got to right to your breaking point, and then what happened when you got to the other side. So what was the pain that you were feeling in your reality, right? That's what you want to be speaking to, guys, in your marketing, just so you know. Right? That's what you want to be speaking. It's called speaking to the listening, right? Speaking to the listening, right? So if I'm speaking to the pain that I had before I went bam, and I made that decision that I was going to throw my hat over the wall and take action and move forward, that's the person that you want to be speaking with. That's called target marketing, okay? Now, what you're going to do in your marketing, and this is why I tell people, stories are what sells, okay? It's not the deal, it's not your product, right? It's not your comp plan, right? That all these other people are out with the big noise. That's not it, and that's why they're broke, okay? What you want to be doing is you want to be talking about these little tiny milestones that you have. If you have a personal breakthrough, if you have a personal development breakthrough, if you have a mindset shift, if you're moving into a leadership role, that's what you want to be talking about, right? Is your breakthrough and your evolution, where you were and where you are now. Because that in that gate, in that little difference between here and here, right, is your breaking point that got you onto this next level, right? So what I tell people to do is this. Start to focus on the little stories. Okay, so when I started, I was focusing on the fact, and complete transparency, guys. No smoke and mirrors, no BS, right? No hype. What I do is I completely open the vault. So I said, hey guys, listen, I'm rolling out right now an underground marketing campaign because I want to see if it's really possible to be able to do this. I want to see if it's possible for me to make automated cash flow without doing home meetings, three-way phone calls, conference calls, Nothing, right? I want to see if I can actually do this, right? I'm going to buy some traffic, some qualified buyers. I'm going to send them to a page, and I'm going to report the results. Complete transparency, right? So here was my first story. My story wasn't even about a company. In fact, for probably 45 days, I didn't even talk about any company, right? I didn't talk about any company, right? What are you marketing? Nobody knew. Nobody even knew what I was marketing. I was just talking about an underground marketing campaign, right? And then my results. So people will say, hey, Darren, what's that underground marketing campaign that you did? What did you do? Right? So now I've got interest. Who was I speaking to? I was speaking to marketers. Isn't that who I want? Don't I want marketers, right? Don't I want people that are already sold on the business model? So I was speaking to marketers. Hey guys, I'm rolling out this underground marketing campaign. Are you really frustrated with three-way phone calls just totally taking up all your time? Because I know I am. It totally ruined my life. That's called speaking to the listening, right? So what do I want? Do you think that if a person is burnt out on three-way phone calls, that means they've been doing a lot of work? Isn't that who I want? Don't I want somebody who's prepared to go to work and roll up their sleeves? That's who I want. So what am I doing? I'm speaking to the listening, right? That's called target marketing. Okay, so my first story was that I was at an Oriental restaurant, a Chinese restaurant. I had ordered beef and broccoli. I was sipping on some Chinese tea, and my phone was sitting on the table, and it started to buzz, right? And I was too hungry to worry about it. I thought somebody was just sending me a text message. So I started eating my beef and broccoli, and it went off again, and then went off again, and again, and again, and again. I was like, what the heck? And I popped it open, and I opened up the text, and holy cow, guys. It blew me away. Trial member, trial member, trial member, upgrade, trial member. I was like, what? So during that lunch, I made $75. So the story around that generated 18 inquiries. Darren, what did you do? Right? How did you make the 75 bucks during lunch? Right? What page did you send them to? Where did you get your traffic from? Right? So those were the questions that started to sprout up. And guess what happened? I actually brought in more members using that strategy. So I did something, I got some results, and then I posted my results, and the results generated more inquiries, right? Which generated more business, right? The next day, my story was how I was across the street, I was eating fish and chips, I was talking about quantum physics with somebody next to me that was at the bar. I was having a pint of beer and I was having some fish and chips, right? And so here I am, and I'm talking about the wave particle theory and how we create our own realities. So what ends up happening? My phone's, I'm not kidding you, it's literally started to sound like a slot machine. What ended up happening? During lunch, I made like $108 during lunch. But that night, I made like 85 or something. It was almost 200 bucks for the day, right? So what did I do? I took those stories and I posted the stories, right? And I didn't post the company name, and I didn't post a link, right? If you want to know how I did this, message me. So now I've got relationships going, because people will go, hey, Darren, like, what did you do? How did you do it? And I would say, hey, Tom, how's it going? How's your day going so far? Right? Hey, Darren, what company is it that you're with? A lot of people would just go, here's my company, right? No relationship, right? You don't want to do that. Why? Because you're giving away the control instead of holding on to the control, right? So if somebody reaches out and says, hey, Darren, what MLM company are you with? I don't go, I'm doing iPass, right? I go, hey, Tom, how's it going? How's your day going so far? Because I want to get a connection first. I want to find out what is it they're doing right now, right? What's their goal and objective? What are they trying to achieve? So a lot of people will start off on one path. They might even ask me about another company, but then I bridge it with the relationship. I find out what their pain factor is, and I end up bringing them in. How about that? And they were asking me about some other company, right? So your goal is to get qualified buyers to a page, right? Now there's a bunch of different strategies that you can use to be able to do that, right? You can just buy some qualified buyers if you want and send them to a page, right? What I typically recommend doing on that is setting up, you know, in your lead capture system, you can put a tracker on the end, right? So when it says ID equals, you can actually track it. So you can track it with the person's name that you bought traffic from, or what I'm doing now, just so you know, even on my emails, okay, is the email might be about a certain topic, like Maui vacation, you know, maybe I'm talking about making, you know, having a $3,000 day or something like that. So I have some code. So I know when I send out that blast, if it's producing revenue, it actually shows up in the back office, guys, just so you know. When they're signing up, there's a little tracker code there. I can see which one of my email campaigns is actually working. So I can go back and I look at the copy later, and I can see, oh, geez, that got some results. Now, I just started to do this, guys. So I'm proof in the pudding that you can go 5 or 6 months and not even have any idea what you're doing and still be in a situation where you have a $7,000 day, a $12,000 week, a $25,000 month, and I was just winging it. Honestly, I didn't know what I was even doing in the beginning of the rollout. Okay, it was all just a test to see if I could create automated cash flow without doing three-way phone calls. That's how this all started. Okay, I had no idea that it was going to, oh, right, take off like this, right? But I'm okay with that. So nothing wrong with that, right, Chad?
Not at all.
Okay. So what I want to do here, guys, is if you can just give me a quick little snapshot here. Chad, what's your short-term goal right now?
Short term, I want to get my monthly residual income over 3K per month.
Okay, perfect.
And I'm
Perfect.
I'm halfway there right now.
Okay, great. Chris, what's your short-term goal?
My short-term goal is within the 9 months, or the 3 months, to get my income up to about $5,000 a month.
Okay.
Hopefully we can do that. That'll equal about what I'm making right now at my job.
Okay, perfect. Helen, what's your short-term goal? Helen, you're muted. Helen, you're muted. Okay, let's go over to Jessica. Jessica, what's your short-term goal?
I would say to replace my income from my job so I can quit working, $3,000 a month.
3,000 a month. Okay, perfect. Mary, what's your short-term goal?
Is short term the 1 month or the 3 month?
1 to 3 months.
1 to 3 months. I would say 3K.
$3,000. Okay.
Yeah.
So guys, what I want for you to understand first of all is that everybody that's in the industry, okay, industry-wide, they need our products. Okay. Now, why do they need our products? If they want to be a worker bee, right, and do the three-way phone calls and blah, 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 and literally be from dawn till dusk, dawn till dusk, dawn till dusk, you know, hallelujah. Like, God bless those people's souls, because that's definitely not the model that I want to do. And that model, guys, literally ruined my life. And I'm not kidding you, okay? Literally ruined my life. And the better that you are, the worse your life gets, okay? So anybody that wants to be a leader and have a life of freedom, right, they need real estate, and they need to be putting out content, right? They need to be a problem solver. And in order to do that, you need a blog. Okay, the blog is your central hub, okay? That's the first thing to understand. So the blog is not an even expensive thing. It's a $25 product, okay? But what's going to help that person to be able to create content, right? It's the inner circle, okay? So that little pod right there, okay? Now, I've built a business, just so you guys know, from 0 to 10,000, right, within 40 days. Just with that. Just that, guys. Okay, and I'll tell you what the formula is for that, okay? So I'm going to take, and I encourage you guys to be using this puppy a lot, okay? Because this communicates with your subconscious mind and makes it very, very easy. So it's not just this random thing out there. Oh, I'll make 3,000. I'll make 5,000. Okay, let's number crunch it. Watch how this works. So let's say that I'm only working with an $87.50 commission. I take 10,000, I divide that by 87.5. I would need a team of 114 people, okay? Now, if I take 114 and I divide that by 3, I'm down to a team of 38, okay, 38. So here's the concept. If I brought a team of 38 people together and I teach them these principles that I'm teaching you guys, and each person only got 5, they're qualifiers, 5 people, I'm at 10 grand a month, right? Just with an 8750 product, right? So now let's bring that up. So let's go 8750 plus now the pro level, which is 50 on the iPass side, because that's going to be your lead generator. So now I'm up to 137.50. 10,000 divided by 137.5. I only need a team of 73 people, right? So that's almost half, right? That's almost half, right? Of the previous number. So if I take 73 and I divide that by 3, guys, it's only a team of 24 people. 24, right? Now here's what I will tell you. That is a very easy thing to do if you take action. Okay, so I'll tell you what it takes to get that amount of people. Okay, and these are from, you know, doing it multiple times, right? It's typically 10% conversion on conversations, casual conversations. You know, just find out what's happening in a person's life. That means that if I had 240 conversations, that 24 people are going to join my business, provided I'm not pitching, provided I'm finding out what's going on in their life, and I'm pulling information like the detective, right? Asking a couple qualifying questions to pique their curiosity and then getting out of the way. Okay, remember the video is going to do the selling, not me. Somebody says, Darren, tell me about your business. Guess what I say? You got a pen? Okay, write down this website, watch the video, and call me back. There's my whole thing. I don't talk about the business. I don't talk about the comp plan. I don't try to explain it. I don't do any of that, right? Now, people say, tell me about some of the ways that you can bridge, right? Here's a couple of that I've used that have worked really well for me in recruiting. So I'm talking to a person. Now keep in mind, what's my number one goal? My number one goal is to change your state and get you to laugh. It's my number one goal, okay, in connecting, okay? Change your state and get you to laugh. Now, I got really good at this, guys, over time with raising money, right? And I could come into the phone, I'm phoning Tom Westrick, and I'd ring, 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 ring. Tom Westrick, what's going on? Okay, I'm laughing internally in my body, and it goes right through. This is an energy portal, guys. Okay, it's an energy portal. Okay, so I come at a really high resonance. Okay, and I can, like that person starts to laugh. And I do this live, where people actually watch me do this, and they're like, holy crap. They listen to the person starting to laugh instantly like that, right? There's a certain resonance that you can come into the call at if you're on the phone, right? But a lot of times I might not be on the phone. I might be on type, on Facebook chat. Okay. So what do I want to do? I want to find out what's going on in your life, Okay? What is happening in your life, right? And I want to listen, right? When you're finished, right? I just got to mute you out again, Helen. Hear your ruffling sound. Okay, so I'm going to find out what's going on in your life, and I'm going to listen, right? And you're going to say, "What about you?" I'm not going to talk about business. Okay? It's a couple of cool, fun things that are happening in my life. What's happening right now? My son's coming in town from San Diego, and I'm fired up, right? Because I haven't seen him since Christmas time, right? So I'm excited. So when I talk about it, I feel like a fountain going off, right? Because I'm thinking about all these fun things that we're going to be doing together. We're going to go golfing, right? We're going to go see a bunch of movies. We're going to be hanging out with my parents. They haven't seen it for a long time. So all this emotion comes out, this like a fountain, guys, okay? So I'm going to say about that. I'm going to talk about my trip, right? Oh, man, I just went to Cancun. As I start talking about it, guess what happens? This. As soon as I start talking about it, my face goes like this because I'm excited. That goes right through here, okay? Now, just in case you don't know, Facebook is an energy portal. Skype is an energy portal. You can transfer your energy right through this, okay? So here's what I've done on live stuff before. So let's say now I'm gonna say, oh, I gotta tell you the story of the slurs. Oh, you know what? I gotta show you these pictures. You're never gonna believe what happened. Like I'm right out in the middle of nowhere, and along comes this sea turtle. Oh my God, you gotta check this out. And I send real pictures, guys, to complete total strangers. Right now, what happens? They're right in my world. Okay, that's called vulnerability. Okay, they're right in my reality, and a gateway opens up. Right now, they tell me everything, everything. So my bridge, right, is that if I go, oh, I see you're from Florida, right, and I go, oh, I love oranges, something like that to get an LOL, something, right? So if I can get that person to do a couple LOLs, right, I can bridge over by asking them, you know, so how are you finding the economy overall in Florida? Right now, if I've done enough on the prelim work over here, they actually start talking about their pain right now. Well, actually, it's not going very good, Darren. Really? Tell me more about that. 5 words will make you rich. 5 words, guys. Tell me more about that. 5 words will make you rich, okay? And they will deepen your relationships because it shows a person that you care enough to listen, right? This will take all your relationships to another level if you start to say this more in your communication, right? Tell me more about that, right? So the person now starts to pour salt on their wound. That's what happens. Now, what are you going to do? You're going to be the white knight coming to save the day, right? Now, here's what I do. If I've got leverage, right, in this conversation, right, and I'll say, well, what exactly is it that you do right now for work, right? And they go, I do X, blah, 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 blah. And I go, how long have you been doing that? And they go, 10 years. And I go, is it your passion? Now, if it's not, you can be rest assured they're opening the floodgates right now, okay? Now, this has worked well for me. Everybody's going to be different, guys, but when I had a deal that I was working on before where you need a team of 200 people, including the pass-ups, to make $25,000 a month, right? That was it. You needed a team of 200 people to make 25 grand a month. I said, well, could you use an extra 25 grand a month? Would that help? Right? Who's going to ever say no to that? Okay? So I would say, well, you know what? I just found out how to help people like you earn 25 grand a month with a small little tiny team of only 200 people. Now, that put me into a 10,000 monthly residual income in 40 days using that strategy. Okay, so that's one. Okay, now if you don't feel congruent with 25,000, then lower it. You know, say, well, geez, sorry to hear that. Could you use an extra 10 grand a month? Would that help? Right? But because I've got leverage, by the time it gets to the point in that conversation, it doesn't even seem like I'm pitching them on anything. I'm helping them. I'm helping them solve a problem or helping them solve their pain, right? Okay, so there's that strategy. The other strategy that I've used that's worked very well is I find out that you've got a home-based business. Here's what I want to know, okay? I want to know how long have you been in? Do you do it full-time or part-time? And how big is your team? Okay, once I know those three things, I know how much money you're making, right? Now I want to know two things. Who's your mentor and what's your marketing and advertising budget? Okay, because that's what's going to make your success. So you go, well, I don't have a mentor. Bingo. There's your problem, right? Well, what's your monthly marketing and advertising budget? I don't have one. Bingo number two, right? So how is it that you expect to get your business out there? If you had a restaurant with no marketing and advertising budget, if you were a law firm and you had no marketing and advertising budget, why is this different? It's not, right? So when I went through Mike Dillard's magnetic sponsoring, he said make it a goal not to make $10,000 a month. Make it a goal to spend $10,000 a month on your marketing. So that's what my mind thinks, guys. So I made that shift about 5 years ago when I read that book. So when I spend a couple of grand on my marketing, it's no big deal for me because I'm actually thinking I got to spend 10 grand, right, in my mind, okay? So in my mind, when I'm thinking about building my business, I'm thinking that I need to spend $10,000 a month to make 7 figures. That's just the way it is. Maybe more. Maybe it's going to be 15, right? That's what my mind thinks. That's how my mind works, okay? So what you've got to understand is that if a person has no mentor and no marketing and advertising budget, of course they're not growing. What do you expect? They don't have any strategy. They got no mindset techniques. They don't have anything like the alpha training or the unstoppable vision as their foundation. What do you expect? Of course they're failing, right? So here, this also put me into a $10,000 monthly residual income, guys, fast, okay? So they say, I go, who's your mentor? I don't have one. Well, what's your monthly marketing and advertising budget? I don't have one. Oh my God, are you serious? Right? So I'm like, you know, I almost put it like, oh, are you for real? Right? Well, no wonder. Oh my God. Right? So it's like, well, you know what? I just found out how to help business owners in Organo Gold or Jeunesse Global, right, add a $2,000 to $3,000 monthly marketing budget to your business in 60 to 90 days. And they go, really? How do you do that? What do I say? What's the 3 words, Chad?
Watch this video.
Boom! Watch this video. It's not my goal to sell you or convince you about anything, because that's not networking. That's not even how it's done. So when people start giving me they don't even get this business model, guys, and that's why they're still broke, okay? In networking, something or someone other than you is going to talk about your business. Something or someone other than you. Now for us, it's video. Okay, so for us, we just want to direct people to the video there. So this part over here is called pre-framing. So if I can pre-frame that person, right, and pique their curiosity, they're looking at that video with a different set of eyes and ears. Make sense? A different set of eyes and ears when they now go to the video. Why? Because they're looking for the solution to their problem versus being pitched. Big difference. Okay, so if have I got a deal for you, right? You're going to go to that video and you're going to actually be resisting it. So you'll be like, oh man, this thing's a ripoff. This thing looks like a total scam, right? But if I'm already telling you, right, that we have people on our team that are going through mentoring that are making as much as $7,500 their very first month. Their first month, right? And as much as $11,500 by month 2, and I say, you know, and like, keep in mind, let's say that I've got my inner circle slash pro pack, which is what? Let's figure it out. Let's figure out what the amount is. I'll show you guys how you can really build this really easily and effortlessly. Okay, so we've got $144.95 plus 97 plus, that's $241 plus $15 for an autoresponder. It's $256. Okay, $256.50. Okay, so here's an example. So Mary, let me ask you a question. If I was to tell you that we have people on our team making as much as $7,500 their very first month, and as much as $11,500 by month 2, and it was only $256.50 to get started, what would you say? Now I can tell you.
I'm in.
That's what most people say, guys. And I'm telling you this from, you know, going from 0 to the $10,000 monthly income multiple times in multiple different companies. So it's not about the company, it's not about the products, it's not about the comp plan, it's about the leadership, right? It's about the questions that you ask and listening, right? So when I say to a person, you know, that I can recruit new reps in between 6 and 45 minutes, they're like, how can you possibly even do that, right? Now, there's a reason that I can do that, because the person, how many times, Chad, do you think people saw my feed today when I was talking about travel with that one thread?
Easily hundreds of times.
Hundreds. One thread, guys, had 225 comments, right? So all those people that were participating that either liked that post or put some comment there and all the way down the whole line, they saw my brand in a compressed period of time 225 times. So of course, if I reach out to somebody that hit the like button and I say, hey Tom, how's it going? How's your day going so far? They're like, holy cow, it's Darren Little, right? Because they've seen my brand. Like a machine gun, right? And all of a sudden now I'm right there in their chat box. So even if I've never chatted with them before, they already feel like they know me. So I'm not a stranger. Does that make sense to you guys? You see how that works, right? So now keep in mind, that is chat, right? Now I can tell you that any person can go from a complete flat, if they use this formula, guys, right? If they use this formula, right? That's called your inner circle, right here. That's your inner circle, right? And if you want to bring in 24 people into your inner circle, it requires about 240 conversations. That's just fact. It's roughly 10% conversion. Now, I mean, you can take a year to do that if you want. Go for it, right? If you want to take a year, take 2 years, right, to do it. But what I do is I break this down and I go, okay, I'm making money now. Like, there's no pissing around here. So I got 240 conversations, and if I had 25 conversations in any given day, I can do that in 9.6 days, guys. 9.6 days, okay? Now, here's what I will tell you. To go from where you are to where you want to go, there's an invisible barrier wall. Okay, it's called breaking inertia. Okay, now from here where you start to get through this here wall, if you go like, you know, oh, I'm talking to a guy, oh, I'm talking to a guy, oh, you know, you'll never get through this wall. This wall will never go down, ever, ever. People go, oh, I can never get my business off the ground. Right? And they wonder why, right? This is the reason why. This wall right here requires a ridiculous amount of front-end inertia to be able to break, okay? A ridiculous amount of front-end inertia. So when I tell people to have 25 connections in any given day, right? Not everybody you're going to have a conversation with. Hey, Tom, how's it going? How's the day going so far? Hey, Mary, how's it going? How's the day going so far? Hey, Bob, how's the day going so far? Hey, Tom, how's the... You know, it doesn't take long to do 25 connections. Not every single person will respond on day one. It's a snowball, okay? By the time you get to day 21, which is 3 weeks, it takes 3 weeks to break inertia. So here's what the numbers come out to. 21 times 25 equals, that's 525 interactions with humans. Okay, 525 interactions. Now here's what I will tell you. You can pretty much guarantee that if you did that, okay, if you did that, 525 connections in a 3-week compressed period of time, that you will have 52 people join you. Bottom line. Because I can tell you that if you focus on the facts, what are the facts? The facts are this. Our economy right now is sucking wind for the average person, right? For the average person. And here's what I will tell you is that the average family only makes between $3,000 and $5,000 a month. $500 will save 50% of the marriages and 50% of the bankruptcies. 500 bucks. Okay, $500 will save 50% of the bankruptcies and 50% of the marriages. $500. Okay. Now, if a person can make $137.50 for each inner circle member, okay, let's figure that out. 500 divided by 137.5. They only need like 3.64 people in their pay line. So it's very achievable. It's very, very achievable for the average person to be able to do these type of things, right? If they've got a team, if they've got mentorship. Does that make sense to you guys? Right? So let me ask you this, chat. Finding out some of these things, the questions, finding out some of the things that you can, how to break the ice, right? How to get people to laugh, questions to ask them, how to connect them to their passion and their dream. Has it been a lot easier? Do you feel like totally like bulletproof when it comes to recruiting now?
100%.
Like you've recruited as many as 6 people in a single day, am I correct?
It's been 4 in a day, and I've had multiple days where I've recruited 2 people in the same day, all in a row.
Okay, so there's an example, guys. Okay, now Chad's been on this path for maybe the last 4 months or so. He's hit the leaderboards in the top 100, and he's recruited between 2 and 4 people consistently in a day. Okay, Mary who's just been on this path now for about 3.5 months in Millionaire Mentoring. She hit, I think, as high as number 45 or something like that, wasn't it, Mary? What was
Yeah,
your
I think so. I think it was 40, 45,
45?
44.
And then, you know, she's been going up and down, up and down, up and down, but she's still been in the top 100, guys. Okay, which is an amazing, you know, accomplishment for somebody who's just really truly getting started. Jessica, okay, standing ovation to Jessica. She made it up as high as number 8, right, in the very beginning. So she had, I don't know, like 17 points or something like that, and she went right up into the number 8 spot. I think she even hit it as high as number 6 spot. Guys, these are all brand new people that are just learning these type of strategies. So when it comes now to, okay, so that's going to be conversational marketing, okay? What I want to teach you guys here is something that is using silence, okay? I used to, you know, raise money and promote stocks and things like that, right? So I would be able to go into a place to meet a bunch of people that I haven't seen for a while, right? And I would come into the room, and I would have this little grin on my cheek, right? Little grin, right? I was like, hey man, what's going on? And they're like, well, what's up? What's up? And I go, oh man. And they go, what? I go, bro. And they'd say, what? Dude. I wouldn't say anything, guys. And they would literally be pulled in, pulled in, pulled in until they're on the edge of their seat, literally prying it out of me. What have you got on the go? Right? And I wouldn't say squat. Nothing. I go, man, I wish I could tell you. Oh, man. And they want to know even more. So don't feel that you always have to spill the beans when it comes to things, right? That's why a lot of these companies now, you'll see them doing what's called a non-disclosure document, an NDA, right? Non-disclosure agreement. What is that? That means that you have to agree that you're not going to even speak to anybody about it. And you've got to sign a document, right? That's a legal document that says you can't tell anybody, right? A lot of companies do that nowadays. When Ripplen did their big thing, they did that to get a whole bunch of buzz, and you had to sign this non-disclosure document before you could even find out about their deal. You guys remember that? Remember that? Okay. So what I will tell you is this. Now let's move from that, okay, into I want to give you a little snapshot about warm market, okay? Because warm market is actually how I've raised millions of dollars and rolled out pretty much every company that I've ever done, right? But I don't go to the person, I go through the person. Now, what do I mean by that? So let's say that I give Tom a call, right? Now, I'm going to call the most influential people that I know, and I want to reach out, touch base, say a quick hello, find out what's going on in their life, and listen, okay? Nothing about business. They say, what about you? Cool stuff, cool stuff, cool stuff. Oh, I got to tell you this story. This is hilarious. Ha, 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 ha. We're both laughing, right? We're both coming down off the laugh. Now's my gateway, right? So let's say that I'm looking for a CEO. So we're both coming down off the laugh. Oh, man, that's good. Hey, Tom, just out of curiosity, do you know anybody right now that you can think of that's either in between careers or that's underpaid at their job that might have the qualifications to be a CEO? Right now, I'm just rolling out a company right now. I'm looking for somebody to fill that position. You know, typically we're looking at about 175 to 200 first year with them stock options and whatnot. You know, second year probably about 300-400 grand. Can you think of anybody off the top of your head that might have the qualifications I can get in front of? Now, if he's a fit himself and he's in between careers or underpaid at his job, he might say, well, what do you got to do to be qualified, right? If he knows somebody, I now have access to his network. That's why it's called networking. Does that make sense, guys? Now, what part of that have I pitched to anybody? I haven't, right? That's what people don't understand about networking. They have no idea what networking even is. That's networking. Okay, so if I'm launching something, I want to go through my most influential contacts to see if they know somebody that might be a fit, right? So here's an example when I'm rolling out a networking company. Same thing, back and forth, right? Hey, Tom, just out of curiosity, do you know anybody right now that's in between careers or underpaid at their job? Right now, I'm just rolling out a company. I'm looking for a couple of key people to head up our international expansion. Now, if you're looking for high-level people like that, guys, I'm talking about senior-level management type people, right? That type of a person is not going to be interested for less than about $150,000 a year, right? They might be making 100 right now, but they're looking for 150. So I typically will play on that, okay? Now, if you look at the deals that I've done with other people, some of the leaders that I've worked with, we've done 150 to 300 our very first year in a deal, right? Because we understand all of these concepts that I'm teaching you guys, right? So I'll typically say, you know, first year they're looking at between 150 and 300K. Second year, about $500,000. Do you know anybody that might be a fit that I could get in front of? That will pull very high qualified people that I can get in front of. Now, if it's a referral through a person, right, what am I going to say? Hey, John, yeah, it's Darren Little calling. Listen, I was speaking with Tom, right, and Tom really highly recommended you, all right, as somebody that I should get a hold of. I'm just in the process of rolling up this company right now. I'm looking for a couple of key people. You know, Tom said that you might be in between careers or, you know, underpaid right now where you're at. I don't even know if there's a fit here. I mean, quite honestly, I don't even know if you'd be qualified. But, you know, maybe we could, you know, just get a chance to get to know one another a little bit better. And who knows, maybe there's a fit. I don't know. It's very casual, right? I'm not trying to pitch the person. All I want to do is get a little connection, get that referral, pique their curiosity, and get out of the way, right? That's networking, right? That's what people don't get. So you've got I showed you guys an email that I sent out, right? So what did the email says? Dear such and such. And if I'm sending out to a lot of people, I might just go, hey, exclamation mark, right? It says R-E, we're expanding and we need your help. That's what the email said, okay? So it said something like, you know, I just wanted to let you know that we're currently expanding into a number of countries. We're looking for a couple of key people to head up our international expansion, right? One of the things I have put in there before is some of the benefits include, right? This is another thing that is a good one. Some of the benefits include international travel, right? You know, tropical getaways, you know, vacation packages, car allowances, and more, cash bonuses and more, right? Because if somebody's in a real high-end type corporate position, those are some of the key highlights. You know, they get a cash bonus at Christmas, or, you know, at the end of the year they get a, you know, trip with they get a cruise for them and their wife, whatever, right? So I will create these emails. Now these are for people that I know, and these aren't, you know, blind cold guys. These aren't me just blasting stuff out to total strangers. These are people that are in my inner circle of, like, my Hotmail contacts that I would send these out to, right? Now what happens in that type of scenario is that I've had this happen where somebody forwarded my email to somebody who forwarded my email to somebody else who called me that was a senior level management that was just the right time, was just in the right position, and we ended up going into business together. How about that, right? So you as a business owner, we were talking, I said, are you a affiliate or are you a CEO? What is a CEO? A chief executive officer. That's the RoboCop, guys, right? If a company is in a tailspin, right, and they need somebody to come and save the day, guess who they go to? They go to the CEO, right? Because that's the person that's grounded. That's the person that's got their emotions under control, and they can look at it and analyze the situation and come up with a strategy, right? They're not, what are we gonna do? Oh, we're gonna go under, right? They're not like that, right? So they're very emotionally grounded, and they can look at the thing and just roll out a proper strategy, right? You've got to be that CEO of your business. So when I look at rolling out companies, here's what my mind says. I need 6 to 8 marketers. That's it. That's all I need. I need 6 to 8 full-time people that are rolling out regular content. That's it. That's all you need. That's all you need to make $250,000 a year. 6 to 8 marketers that are marketing. $250,000 a year is what you make. So don't be thinking in your mind that you're just churning. The way that our strategy works is this. iPass is going to build a list. It's like a screening device, right? So when I see people coming and going on the iPass side, I don't care, guys. If I see somebody that started and they cancel and they ask for a refund, it has no effect on me whatsoever, because this section here is a qualifier. This is the qualifier. So what's my goal out of that? I want to launch a company over here, right? My company section is Empower Network, right? So on the company side, do you know that in 5 months, my retention, which is the holding factor, okay, with my primary business, which is Empower Network, is 97.56%. Not attrition. Attrition is people quitting. Retention is concrete. Those are the people that see value from your leadership. So 97.56% of all the people that have gone from this qualifier, right, the spinner, over into my primary business, 97.56%. That is good. Would you guys be happy with numbers like that? Right? So all the stuff that I'm teaching you here is based upon that. Okay, so here's what I'm going to tell you now, is that as you're out building your business, right, I want for you to realize that all you need to be concerned about is a couple of things. Number one, right, do you look at yourself in the mirror and see a leader? It's either a yes or a no, guys. If it's a no, you've got to do more personal development. You've got to do more mirror work. I love you, whatever your name is, just the way you are. 10 times, guys, like push-ups. If you commit to doing this, I'm telling you, your life will literally transform. Okay? I love you, first name, just the way you are. I accept myself unconditionally, even though part of me feels I don't deserve to be successful. 10 times, every single day, like push-ups. Now, I don't know if it's going to be on day 5, day 10, day 12, day 15, day 18, 20, whatever. Something is going to happen, and be prepared. You're going to go through some emotions. So what? So what? Big deal. So let me ask you this, Mary. You've been at this now for 90 days. Tell me about it.
Tell you about which, the mirror work?
Absolutely.
I actually in the beginning had a hard time with that because I never looked at myself in the mirror before. I mean, literally, if I put makeup on, it was just real quick, and then I got out. I just never really looked at myself. So when you had me start doing that exercise, it was very emotional, and I can remember the very first week doing it, how I was actually afraid to look at myself in the mirror. I can't even explain why. I don't know why. But now it's just routine. I like looking in the mirror. If I feel even a twinge of doubt coming on or something, I go find a mirror, or I'll even use my cell phone and I'll look. You know how you can put it on the picture feature, and I'll look in my cell phone and talk to myself. And it helps lift me up. So it's phenomenal. It really makes a huge difference.
So here's my question. Because what I want for you guys to do, and I really highly suggest that, you know, you can't escape, guys, just so you know. There's no way to escape. You're in this video game, and you're going to either master the rules to the game, or you're going to suffer. One of the two. Just make your choice. You're either going to master the rules to the game, or you're going to suffer. You got to just pick the choice, right? So if you don't realize that there's 4 components to the game: deservability, worthiness, self-love, and boundaries, and if you don't realize that it's your thoughts, your words, and your emotions that's in control of the 3 that's going to master the 4, if you do not take ownership for this, you are on a path of suffering. Plain and simple. So you can either do the work or not. You can either do the work and get the breakthrough and step into your power and be a leader, or not and suffer for the rest of your life. You're going to have to get to a point where you finally draw a line in the sand and you say, I will no longer stand for this in my reality. I will no longer stand for this. You have to get to that breaking point and raise your standards. If you don't, guys, I'm telling you, it will be like this for your whole life. Okay, for your whole life. Okay, so we're pretty much at a wrap here. I want to just say one thing, though, in closing. Does everybody understand the actual calculation that you need to figure out your incomes and the size of your team? Do you know what it is, Chad?
Yeah, for the recurring income.
Whatever. So you've got your 3,000 or 5,000, right? The inner circle, right? Somebody needs to be in, they need a blog, they need the mindset training on that side and their affiliate fee. And on this side, they need the Pro Pack so they can make this thing can pay for their whole business, right? Which is the iPass. So they need 97 plus they need their 145. That is going to give you $137.50 commissions. But keep in mind, 1, 3, and 5 are pass-ups, and those go to infinity, right? So what you want to realize is whatever your number is for your team, if you divide that by 3, that's 1 level. If you divide by 3 again, that's the 2nd level. Right? So that will give you an idea of how that would progress. I typically just pick the number and divide by 3 to get you a smaller number because, quite honestly, I mean, if I can recruit 270 some odd people, in the course of, I don't know, 5 months right now, guys, really, it's a $7. It's a $7 trial. We're not talking about, taking out a second mortgage on your home, right? Sound fair? Any closing remarks at all?
For me, I just want to say that it really just comes down to an individual decision. Like you said, draw a line in the sand, and that's where it starts. Everything else will fall into place as long as you have mentoring.
Okay, Chris, this is your first sort of time here on a mentoring session. Any closing remarks? Did you get some value out of this today?
Yeah, I did. I'm glad I can start making it to these for the next couple of weeks, and just great coming, and gives me that a little bit more of a motivation just to see these people across the bottom that are getting it done.
Do you feel more confident that it's really not maybe as hard as what you originally thought in your mind? This is actually quite a simple process that, all you got to do is set the system up so it's going to work, and then after that, it's just, you know, what are you going to use for your marketing message to bridge people to pre-frame them for that video, right? Does that
Yep,
make
for
sense?
sure. Yep, I like how it is. It is step by step. I started my blog today with I don't know what it's called, Kaluta or whatever it
Kalatu.
is,
Yeah.
Kalatu. I've done a YouTube video as well.
Oh,
Did
fantastic. Good
some
job.
paid marketing, and I'm getting it done.
Awesome. Awesome. That's great. Okay, Helen, you had a autopilot sale come in. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, and I
I
saw that
will.
you did a video as well. So you're making some ground there, Helen.
Oh, thank you. I've been trying to pick myself up from failing. So, like, I basically restarted the basic again from the basic. I go through all the video, all the training, all the setup again. So I managed to connect to my coach right now. So I have an appointment set up for Monday. So I'll start my 90 days coach with this guy. See.
Oh, fantastic. That's so great. Good on you,
Thank
Helen,
you.
for sticking it out and
Thank
just,
you.
no excuses and just getting right back to the basics. That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Okay, Jessica, any closing comments?
No, always glad to be here and listen to you and make you. I love how you make it so simple. You only need this many people to get to the amount of income you want per month. So definitely
Perfect,
have to go out
perfect.
there and work.
Awesome. Mary, how are you making out there? You hit the leaderboards, and any closing remarks?
No, this is phenomenal. I love these Google Hangouts because I have found that going back to them and listening to them over again it's phenomenal. And I personally catch extra stuff when I do that. So just so everybody knows, you should go back and re-listen to these. Thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic. And I see we've got the wandering ghost wanderer there. Shrina showed up here today. Shrina, how are you? Shrina doesn't have a microphone. Okay. Okay, guys, so you've got Darren Little here from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada with the MLM Superheroes. All I can tell you is this. If you were right now in a place where you really want to make a life change and you really want to take your life to the next level, guys, this is no hype, okay? This is no smoke and mirrors. We teach you and train you on how to step into your power and step into your leader so that you will never, ever have to worry about money again for the rest of your life. And I'm not saying that lightly, guys, okay? I'm not saying that lightly, because using these strategies that I teach, I've taken people from completely homeless, no home, living on the couch of a friend's house, and 6 months later, having their first $20,000 month. These are transferable skills. You know, people that are in corporate America, Dodie Johnson started with me at 100 grand a year. That's where her corporate job paid her. Within 60 days, she got a $212,000 raise. Have you ever heard of that? Have you ever heard of something like that happening? These are real life stories, guys, okay? She's now paid as much as $5,200 for 1 hour to do keynote speeches, and she's never ever been a speaker. How about that? How did she do that? All from this training right here. All from Millionaire Mentoring. All right here, guys. This is where it starts, in your mind, right? And whether or not you feel worthy, whether or not you feel deserving, whether or not you love yourself, and whether or not you're willing to draw that line in the sand and raise your standards. So click the link below, take action, guys, and we'll see you on the other side. My name is Darren Little from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, with the MLM Superheroes, and I look forward to meeting you in person one day, and I look forward to seeing you at the top. Bye for now.